Good evening. President Bongbong Marcos is taking public sentiment into account regarding the Philippines' possible return to the International Criminal Court. An Okta research survey conducted from April 20 to 24 revealed that 57% of Filipinos support the country's return to the ICC. Meanwhile, 37% said they were opposed to it, while 6% were undecided. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 1, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro was asked whether the survey could influence President Marcos's openness to being a member of the International Tribunal again. Castro says,
Sa ngayon po ay hindi pa po natin napag-uusapan yan, hindi pa po nababanggit ng Pangulo. Pero yung ganito mga sentimiento po ng ating mga kababayan ay dinidinig naman po ng ating Pangulo. So tignan na lang po natin sa mga susunod na araw kung ano po ang magiging saloobin ng Pangulo sa pag-rejoin sa ICC.
Castro previously said that President Marcos is open to discussions on the Philippines rejoining the ICC. President Marcos has yet to issue an official statement on the matter. Former President Rodrigo Duterte withdrew from the Rome Statute on March 17, 2018. The Rome Statute is the treaty that established the ICC. The withdrawal took effect after a year. Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro criticizes Vice President Sara Duterte's alleged lack of ethical standards, which she stresses cannot be hidden behind foul language or personal insults. Castro questioned Vice President Duterte's recent personal trip to Australia. The Vice President left for Melbourne on June 17 and returned to Manila on June 24. Castro insisted that the Vice President's trip should be accompanied by an accomplishment report. Over the weekend, Vice President Duterte says she had no obligation to inform the public about her personal travel and berated Castro for demanding such information. But Castro, in a briefing on Tuesday, July 1, maintains that the Vice President must submit a report detailing the outcome of her trip.
Ang kakulangan po sa kaalaman sa batas, sa ethical standards ay hindi po maikukubli sa pagmumura o pang-iinsulto. Simple lang naman po. Bakasyon o trabaho. Siya naman po ang nagbanggit na nagtatrabaho. Not on a holiday. So kapag nagtrabaho, dala ang posisyon, dala ang bandera ng Pilipinas, may official functions, ayon na rin sa RA 6713. Public office is a public trust. So dapat ipaalam ano ang naging magandang resulta sa pagtatrabaho. Kung walang ma-report, baka walang natrabaho.
The Vice President attended an event in Melbourne calling for the release of her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte. During the event in Melbourne, Vice President Duterte claimed that her father is receiving injustices from the International Criminal Court. She encouraged her Filipino supporters to come together and create a position paper regarding her request, as well as to bring her father's case to the local Australian media and to the global community through their social media accounts. However, this was flagged by Castro, asking that if the trip was personal, then why did the Vice President use the Office of the Vice President's official Facebook page to live stream her message during the event? The Chinese government has imposed sanctions on former Senator Francis Tolentino, banning him from entering mainland China, Macau, and Hong Kong. In a statement on Tuesday, July 1, the Chinese Foreign Ministry notes how a handful of anti-China politicians in Manila have made malicious remarks and moves on issues related to China. The Chinese Foreign Ministry then says it decided to impose sanctions on former Senator Tolentino for his egregious conduct on China-related issues and prohibit him from entering the Chinese mainland, Hong Kong, and Macau. Tolentino used to head the Senate's Special Panel on Maritime and Admiralty Zones. In his tenure as a senator, Tolentino principally authored two landmark measures, including the Maritime Zones Law and the Archipelagic Sea Lanes Law. The Philippine Maritime Zones Act specifically sets the limits or extent of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, while the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act categorically identified the sea lanes through which both foreign ships and aircraft may only pass through. Both measures backed the Philippines' historic arbitral award in 2016. For his part, Tolentino says the sanction imposed by China is nothing more than a badge of honor. In a statement also on Tuesday, Tolentino says he acknowledges the sanctions imposed on him by China. He emphasizes that it was made after he defended the rights, dignity, and sovereignty of the Filipino people in the West Philippine Sea. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian has filed a bill seeking to trim college education from 4 to 3 years. Gatchalian filed his measure on Tuesday, July 1. Dubbed the Threeyear College Education Act, Gatchalian says this measure seeks explicitly to empower the Commission on Higher Education to allow flexibility for degree programs to be completed in not more than 3 academic years. However, Gatchalian says the duration of programs should still be based on assessed industry needs, international standards or benchmarks, and recognized best practices. Under the proposed measure, Gatchalian emphasizes that the general education courses shall be integrated and completed at the senior high school level. The proposal also seeks to ensure students' college readiness and provide more time for internships and advanced specialization. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.